So since we spoke last, we've had a lot of quite heated debates about stuff in your wheelhouse, not least of which have been the pyramids in Egypt. Probably the most inflammatory was when Dr. Zahi Hawass, the godfather of the Giza pyramids, as he's known, wrote a 1,000-page book about the Giza pyramids, went up against two of your supposed disciples.
No, I have no disciples. Well, I really want to be clear about that.
They probably see themselves more as that than you would.
No. We're a group of people with open minds, but nobody is leading anybody else, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, people who like and admire you and think you're a force for good. Jimmy Corsetti and Dan Richards.
Yeah.
And they were debating the issue whether high-tech drilling of the pyramids was a good idea. Let's take a look.
Before we get into the main video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more videos. Piers Morgan is left stunned as Graham Hancock reveals a shocking theory about the pyramids and the Ark of the Covenant. Piers Morgan is left stunned as Graham Hancock drops one of his most shocking claims yet. In this intense interview, Hancock challenges everything we've been taught about the pyramids and ancient civilizations. He suggests that hidden knowledge, buried structures, and lost technologies could rewrite human history forever. Piers Morgan pushes back hard, questioning the evidence and demanding real proof. But Hancock insists the truth is being ignored and what lies beneath could be terrifying. This debate sparks controversy, disbelief, and curiosity around the world. So, what do you think? Genius discovery or dangerous speculation? Drop your thoughts below.
If you want to squash debate involving, the conspiracy theorists and everything, all we got to do is go in and look. We know where it's at. We could drill a hole. This is doable.
Yeah, I agree. Why can't you just go in?
You cannot just go indirectly like this. You have to make a study. You have to research it. You have to decide as a scientist, when can you do it? And when we can use it,
been 9 years.
We do that, we can...
Yeah,
9 years,
come on.
brother.
I mean, look, we sent rockets...
We
sent rockets to the...
Wrong.
Hang on,
you are wrong.
Dr.
I'm
Hawass,
sorry.
we have sent rockets to the moon since the 60s. I mean...
This is the pyramid of Egypt. This is something valuable. This is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Yep. You just can go and boom and drill like this. You have to be sure that this drill is important to discover something.
Yeah, what was interesting about that, it got a lot of reaction. A lot of people watched it, millions. Robbie Williams, the singer, contacted me saying he really wants, because in the end, Dr. Zahi invited me to go to the Giza pyramids and do a show from there. Robbie Williams wants to come. He was serious. So I really want to come. He's fascinated by it. A lot of people are. I'm not quite sure why Dr. Zahi was so against what seemed to me to be a fairly obvious thing to try and do.
I think we need some sympathy and some respect for Zahi Hawass. Zahi has devoted his life to the study of the pyramids. He is a world expert on the pyramids. He's passionate about the subject. He's not putting on an act. The pyramids really matter to him, and they matter to his sense of national pride as an Egyptian. And he has a huge amount of knowledge and information to bring to the subject. But I think that Zahi is very tired of people coming to him with what he regards as crackpot ideas and saying, you should do this, you should do that.
Is that a crackpot idea?
No, this is the problem. The work that Filippo Biondi and Corrado Malanga and others have done is not a crackpot idea. In a way, the reaction, the instant hysterical reaction of archaeologists to the publication of this information is an indication of the serious problem that archaeology has.
Well, let me remind
they
viewers...
did not get to grips with the nature of the technology.
Right. Let me just remind viewers of what you're talking about. The specific story that we were debating with that panel was the news back in March. A team of Italian scientists announced the discovery of a colossal underground complex plunging nearly 3,500 feet beneath Egypt's Giza plateau. And just this month, I think it was just this month, Filippo Biondi, as you said, the radar engineer who developed the imaging method, has gone public on the American Alchemy podcast, saying that 4 independent satellite operators, Umbra, Capella Space, ISI, and Italy's Cosmos SkyMed, all returned identical raw tomography data showing the same structures. Now, just put that into simple layman's language for me.
Yeah.
What have they actually unearthed?
Well, first of all, the hysterical initial reaction of archaeologists was because they did not understand the technology.
Right.
They thought that it's simply a matter of radar, and they correctly pointed out that radar cannot see very far under the ground, particularly when the radar's up in a satellite. You have ground-penetrating radar, which can get 20 or 30 feet under the ground if you're actually on the ground. But seeing underground from a satellite with radar is not a possibility. So the reaction was, this can't be real. This isn't real. But they don't understand the technology, which is not just synthetic aperture radar. It's combined with tomography. It's combined with sound. The Earth has sound. It has resonance. It has vibration. Even a car moving can create vibrations under the Earth if there are cavities or spaces under the Earth. So it's a combination, and don't ask me for the high-tech details, but it's a combination of radar and sound, and the mixture of the two that produces this imaging. And the technology has been tested enough for it to be taken reasonably seriously. That does not mean that they've discovered anything. What it means is that they have identified anomalies beneath the Great Pyramid. And you are absolutely right. The only way to settle that is to drill.
Has to be.
And and that's the only way.
But is that way? Look, I'm a big fan of Dr. Zai. I thought he was great, and he obviously is an indisputed, probably most expert guy on the Giza pyramids alive. Sometimes people in that position, and I'm not going to speak for him as to whether this is true or not, you can get a little bit overprotective because it means so much to you, because he's an Egyptian, because this is the Great Pyramid, all these things, that sometimes you get a little overprotective, when in fact the world, I think, ought to be able to try and work out what has. And it's amazing to me that all four of these operators came back and all made the same identification. Right? That means there's something, probably. I mean, arguably, you have to say on the balance of probability that it's more likely than not there's something there.
Yes.
At which point, I knew nothing about the pyramids before, probably before I spoke to you. Now I'm like really obsessed with this because I'm like, well, what is there? And could it be there is this whole thing underneath, right?
Yes, it could be.
There's only one way we really can find out, right?
Drill.
Right. As Donald Trump would say, drill, baby, drill.
And there's no problem in drilling down 1 kilometre or 2 kilometres below the surface of the Earth. We have drilling projects in the world that are going down 12 kilometres. It can be done. It's technically possible. Furthermore, drilling has taken place on the Giza Plateau before. There has been drilling around the Great Sphinx. Supposedly looking for groundwater beneath the Great Sphinx.
Did it cause any damage to them?
No, it didn't cause any damage.
So why would he be so implacably opposed to it?
I think it's this overprotective thing. I think it's the absolute fatigue with just being deluged with lunatic theories, and feeling, look, we archaeologists, we devoted our lives to this, we understand Giza, it just can't be. But it was premature because the technology is good, the technology is interesting. I think what needs to be done is, first of all, let's identify a number of deep structures around the world. There are underground cities in Turkey, which go down a couple of 100 feet beneath the ground.
Indisputably.
Indisputably.
Yeah.
They're absolutely, they're in Kuyu, for example. I've been in them.
So we know there are underground cities.
We know that, and we know their shape. We know the shape of all the rooms within them.
I mean, treat me as a complete village idiot, but why are they so far underground now? What's happened?
Well, they were dug out. Nobody knows who by. One theory is that that local people used them as places of refuge when the area was under attack. But these are very complicated.
So they would have been almost like tunneled down.
Tunneled down.
Right. So they weren't like over time being, changing terrain.
No.
This is stuff that was deliberately created underground. These have been
made by human beings.
So is that your theory then about what may lie under Giza?
No. My point is that this is a place where the technology can be tested because we know the shape of those underground spaces.
So if it goes down and identifies it all accurately, you'll know the technology could possibly do the same with the Giza.
That makes it more likely that the technology is identifying something.
What's the dream? I mean, what in our wildest fantasies, when you think about this and you think of the possibilities, what could lie beneath the Giza pyramid?
Morgan is left stunned as Graham Hancock reveals a shocking theory about the pyramids and the Ark of the Covenant. Piers Morgan is left stunned as Graham Hancock drops one of his most shocking claims yet. In this intense interview, Hancock challenges everything we've been taught.
Very clear when we go back into the ancient Egyptian texts that The one thing, I'm not particularly interested in the Great Pyramid as a machine or as some kind of device. Maybe it is. Maybe it is more than one thing. But one thing for sure is that the pyramids were connected in the minds of the ancient Egyptians with the mystery of life after death. What happens to us when we die? And they explored that mystery in great depth. And they had a concept of an underworld, a place that they called the Duat, where the soul travels to after death. And interestingly, where you see depictions of that underworld, for example, on the tomb of Thutmose III in the Valley of the Kings, you can see that they consist of narrow corridors and passageways, very much like the internal corridors and passageways of the Great Pyramid. Right. There's even a pyramid in the Egyptian underworld. So there's some sense that we should expect to find beneath the Giza Plateau a great deal more than has already been found. That is we already know that there are deep shafts like the Osiris shaft. The bottom of the Great Pyramid, the subterranean chamber, is 100 feet vertically beneath the base of the Great Pyramid. I think we're only scratching the surface of what's underneath the Giza Plateau.
I presume you've been out there, have you?
Many times.
Many times.
Yeah.
When you stand there, I mean, it's an astonishing thing, right? I mean, every single part of it is kind of breathtaking in the scale and ambition. Absolutely. Many people just don't believe it could have been done the way people think.
It's like the Great Pyramid is like a huge question mark standing there on the Giza Plateau saying, figure me out.
Yeah.
Figure me out. First of all, figure out how we did this. There have been multiple theories about how.
When you first went there, how did you feel standing there?
Awe-inspired. It changed my life.
Did it?
It changed my life, and I felt drawn towards it, and I felt compelled to try to understand it better. And in that process, I've climbed the Great Pyramid 5 times. I've been inside every known cavity and passageway and corridor inside the Great Pyramid. I feel intimately connected to it, but I also feel that is just scratching the surface and that there is much, much, much more to be found. When you go down to that subterranean chamber beneath the Great Pyramid, you'll find at one side of it a narrow corridor cut into the rock face, and it then goes for 30 or 40 feet and then it stops dead. And you have to wonder what else is down there. So I'm fascinated by the work that Filippo Biondi and his team have done. I think that...
And are they credible, these guys?
They are absolutely... Filippo Biondi is a thoroughly credible radar scientist. Corrado Malanga is a chemist. Neither of them are Egyptologists. This is one of the problems. But they are coming to this with scientific method. Their method has not been understood by Egyptologists. It's been rejected prematurely without understanding what the method is. What needs to be done rationally is further testing of the method on known underground structures like Derinkuyu in Turkey, for example. And then ultimately, if the method continues to check out and proves that it can identify deep underground spaces, then it comes time to drill. And it need not be a very damaging project.
And you think that potentially what could lie there is a real-world manifestation of the spiritual world that you were talking about?
I think so. I think that it was a place of initiation. The ancient Egyptians were obsessed with preparing for death. That this was the ultimate adventure in life, that you would be tested on everything you had done in your life, and that you would have to make a journey through narrow corridors and passageways in darkness, confronted by gates, protected by fiends and demons. It was a terrifying prospect, and I suspect it's only a theory. I can't prove this, but I suspect that there was an initiation process where initiates were given an insight into what that journey would be like. Kind of practice run.
It would be incredible, wouldn't it?
On the afterlife journey, yes. It would.
Did you ever talk to Dr. Zahi?
Zahi and I get on okay. We've had some misunderstandings in the past.
I mean, if I was to go out there, because he's invited me, would he let you come with me?
Yes, I'm sure.
It's a fun trip.
I'm sure he will. What Zahi and I have come to is we've agreed to disagree. There's too much mutual insulting going on in this world, where archaeologists insult alternative researchers and alternative researchers insult archaeologists. Zahi and I have agreed that we will not insult each other personally anymore. Our disagreements will be purely on the basis of our interpretations, our different interpretations of the evidence. And I don't think Zahi is opposed to different interpretations of the evidence, but he is opposed to flimsy, badly thought out ideas.
Who makes the final decision on whether this drilling can happen?
Well, ultimately, it's going to be the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities who make that decision. But Zahi would be very influential in that aspect. And it would be it would be necessary to show that the drilling could be done without causing massive damage. And I don't see why it should cause massive damage.
I mean, do you understand why he has big concerns about it?
Yes, I do. I mean, we're looking
to him, it's a sacred
we're
place.
looking at the last surviving wonder of the ancient world.
Yeah.
This is a unique, precious, and special place for the heritage of all of humanity. And we shouldn't just be bombing in there with, like they did in the 19th century, with gunpowder and sledgehammers. I mean, this is the damage that British explorers did to the Great Pyramid, principally a Colonel Howard Vyse, who used gunpowder to blow a huge gash in the south side of the Great Pyramid, who went in and blew his way up into the chambers above the King's Chamber.
Why did he do that?
Because he was drawn to the Great Pyramid as well. He wanted to find out, and there was no moral code governing what they did. They could just take it, and so much stuff was taken away from Egypt and brought to other countries. The possibility of doing damage to this site is a horrific thing, and we should not do it. But I believe that we are an intelligent species. We have a good grasp of our technology, and I think it would be possible to do drilling at the in fact, this is the second pyramid we're talking about, the pyramid attributed to Khafre. It would be possible to do a deep drilling around there to ground truth whether or not these imaging that Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi and their team are coming up with, whether there's anything to them or not. Is it just noise or is it real signal? That's what we have to find out.
It's so interesting. There's been another story in the news. The archaeologists now say humans mastered the art of creating fire 400,000 years ago, which, if that is true, would be 350,000 years earlier than previously known. And it's a groundbreaking discovery in a field in Suffolk. The evidence unearthed a patch of scorched earth, I love this stuff, and fire-cracked hand axes at a time when brain size was approaching the modern human range, and some species were expanding into harsher northern climates, including Britain. Now, does this all fit into your thesis that humans were quicker to civilization than previously thought?
Yeah, I have a saying which is stuff just keeps on getting older. And this is true. We are constantly pushing the timeline back. There was a time when we thought that anatomically modern humans only went back 50,000 years. Then that was revised to 196,000 years. Then it was revised again with a discovery in Morocco to 300,000 years. Anatomically modern humans, people just like you and me. My point is that if you're going to have my proposal that we may have a forgotten episode in human history, the longer we've been around as human beings, the more likely that is to be the case. And that's why I use that phrase. In this case, I think we're almost certainly looking at Neanderthals who made this fire in Britain. There were not anatomically modern humans in Britain at that time, but Neanderthals are closely related to us. In fact, in a sense, we are Neanderthals.
When someone like you, when I read that, I'm like, oh, it's just really interesting. When you hear there's a patch of unearthed, scorched earth like this, which could support your long-held theory, I mean,
the human story is longer than we think. Yes.
But how do you react when you hear something like that?
Well, first of all, let's bear in mind that humans were using fire before that. There's an ancestor with the rather awkward name of Homo erectus. And Homo erectus was quite an interesting character. His brain size was about half of ours.
Really?
But this being was bipedal.
Well, were his other body parts twice as big? Is that why he got his name?
Perhaps they don't survive, unfortunately, so we can't measure them. But he was sailing. Homo erectus sailed to Australia. They were capable.
But you can't sail to Australia without a brain.
No, you can't. They
must be fully formed.
They were remarkable.
What about a smaller brain or smaller head or both?
Well, smaller brain.
Right. But then, I mean, look, given computers were massive and are now tiny, could the human? I mean, does it make any difference to your brain power?
Yeah,
it does.
It's a very good. No, it's a very good point. To the extent to which brain size is linked to brain power is not clear, and we've got the example with computers where we're miniaturizing things more and more.
That's what I mean.
More. So it's not so important. But my point was that fire was being used by Homo erectus. The question is, were they managing fire? Did they know how to create fire, to strike a spark? And I think what's happening in this case is they're saying they found definite evidence of sparks being struck. So that's another aspect of human behavior.
My point about your reaction is like, when my football team Arsenal score 2 or 3 brilliant goals like last night in the Champions League, I'm like punching the air and shouting as I mean, are you calm and measured when you hear these things?
I don't,
or do you leap around?
No, I don't punch the air
Really?
about the finding.
Never you don't shout your
earlier evidence of fire. No, that's. I would expect that actually long before 400,000 years ago, human ancestors were managing and using fire. It's just that archaeology hasn't found the evidence.
That's fascinating. Let's talk to another fascinating thing: the Ark of the Covenant. We didn't get around to this in our last interview. Yeah. You are most famous beyond the pyramids for the Ark of the Covenant.
Well, it's what started me on this journey.
Yes. So for those who only know a little bit about it from Raiders of the Lost Ark, in very simple terms, what is the Ark of the Covenant?
The Ark of the Covenant is the box, about 3 feet 9 inches long, 2 feet 3 inches high and wide, made of wood and gold. The outer part is gold, coating a wooden interior, and then the inner part of the box is also gold. And in it are placed the 2 tablets of stone of the 10 Commandments. This is according to the book of Exodus. Moses is summoned to Mount Sinai, creates the tablets of stone, and the Ark of the Covenant is built by a craftsman called Bezaleel, who builds this object.
Subscribe bottom for more videos. Piers Morgan is left stunned as Graham Hancock reveals a shocking theory about the pyramids and the Ark of the Covenant. Piers Morgan is left stunned as Graham Hancock